Try this again. So today we are finishing the 10-2 notes. I know. They don't. They can see it. You can't. You got it right in front of you. So today we're finishing the 10-2 notes, Parker, and we're on number 49, I believe. So on 49, it says find the first three terms of each arithmetic series. So again, I'm trying to get you to think about the fact that they said the word arithmetic. I know right now all of them are arithmetic, but eventually that won't be true. So you need to pay attention to that word because that actually means a lot. So if they want the first three terms, I do something like that to help myself understand what it is they're looking for. What could I go ahead and fill in? A1 is 48, right? The first term is 48. If I had what, this would be really easy to finish. D, the common difference. Do I have that? I do not. So I have S sub n, and I have A sub 1, and I have A sub n. So if you go back to the front, are we going to use the first S formula or the second one? The first one, probably, right? So S sub n equals n, A sub 1 plus A sub n, all over 2. You plug in what you know, you substitute. So S sub n is 1368 equals, I don't know n, A sub 1 is 48 plus A sub n is 180 all over 2. Is everybody okay with what I just did? I just substituted, right? So now, go ahead and do 48 plus 180 over 2. Don't just look at mine and be like, yeah, that's what I would get. You actually have to plug it into your calculator or else some of you guys think you're going to get it right and then you don't, okay? So 1368 equals, what is it? I'm sorry, 114n, yeah. Good. Everybody take your time and actually do that though, because some people don't plug that in correctly. I want to make sure you get it. If you're not getting it right, you probably need to do 48 plus 180, hit the equals, and then divide by 2. If you don't do that, your calculator thinks you mean 48 plus 180 over 2. So you either need to hit the equals before you divide by 2, or you need to put it in parentheses. Most people just hit the equals. Everybody all right? So now what do? Divide by 114, and you get n is 12. Is that what we needed? No, that didn't really help me, right? Or it seems like it didn't, but it did. So whenever you get stuck, you go back to the first formula, pretty much. So A sub n equals A sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Well, looky there. I have everything except for d. Isn't that what I was kind of hoping to find, right? The common difference. So A sub n is still 180. A sub 1 is the 48. We just found n to be 12. So we're going to solve for d, the common difference. So order of operations, 180 equals 48 plus 11d. I'm going to subtract the 48, and you get what? 132 equals 11d, so d is 12. That's a coincidence, by the way. Those don't have to match. Okay? Am I done? Did I answer the question? I didn't. What do they want? The first three terms. I have the first one. How am I going to find the second one? Add the 12 to it, right? So what's 48 plus 12? 60 plus 12. 72. This is my final answer. Is anyone confused? Can you say that one more time? I'm sorry. So they said arithmetic. So that means whatever d is, you're going to add to the next one. Because we're going forward, we're going left to right, not right to left. We're not figuring it out. Do you get that? So if it's 12, I'm going to add 12. I'm going to add 12. Is that okay? Okay. All right, next one. Find the first three terms again. 1, 2, 3. Well, darn. I can't fill anything in, right? So if they give me an S sub n formula, I'm probably going to use one of those too. So with this one, I could pick either formula. Do you get what I'm saying? Either way, I'm missing something. So typically, I would just pick whichever one looks easier to you. So probably the first one. You honestly can't choose a wrong one when you're choosing between the two S sub n formulas, but if you pick one that I didn't intend for you to pick, it's more work. It's not wrong, you'll just have to do more work to get to the answer, and most people don't want that, right? So S sub n equals n a sub 1 plus a sub n over 2. Plug in whatever you can, fill in what you know. So 2,982 equals 28, a sub 1 plus 228 over 2. Oops. Is everybody okay with what we just did? What do we do now? Divide by the 28. Very good. So when I divide by the 28, it cancels out here. And what do I get on the left side? 106.5. I don't know. I didn't write any of this down. I did it on my calculator. Is that right? Can you guys check that? Thank you. So a sub 1 plus 228 all over 2. So now what do? Multiply by 2. And what's that? 113 equals a1 plus 228. And then, oh, 213. That makes sense. 213, sorry. And then do what? Subtract the 228 and you get negative 15, which is correct. Sure. This one? So from here to here, I divided by the 28 to make it go away. And here as well. And that's how I got, ignore that for right now. Okay. So I got the 106.5 equals this. And then you have to get rid of the dividing by 2. So you multiply by 2. Okay. And then we subtract the 228. So I can go ahead and fill that in, right? A sub 1 is negative 15. What would be really nice if I had it? Common difference, right? I don't have it. I'm stuck. First equation. When you get stuck, it's probably the first equation. A sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. I'm hoping I have everything except for the common difference, which I think I do. So a sub n is 228 still. A sub 1 we just said was negative 15. N they said was 28. You solve for d. What? Where? This is 213. Sorry, I thought I heard someone say 113, but it's 213. So 228 equals negative 15 plus 27d. And what do you do from there? Add the 15, right? I don't think I wrote that down either. I did it all in my head. So what's 228 plus 15? 243 equals 27d. So what's d? 9. Is that our answer? No. What do we do with it? Add it to the negative 15. So what's negative 15 plus 9? Negative 6 plus 9? 3. Anybody confused? Yeah, I'm going to wait for you. Thanks. Okay. For the next one, when you're ready, it's number 59. It has that sigma. That's the part that we skipped yesterday, so you're going to want to go back to the front of your notes. Okay? Are you good, Sam? Okay. So this is what we skipped the other day, sigma notation, okay? So this is sigma, it's a Greek symbol, all right? This is a shortcut for writing the sum of a series. So this means summation, but it's given to you in a different way, okay? So I'm just going to explain it the best I can, but when we actually do the question, I think that's when it's easier to tell what means what. So this is the first value of k, this is the last value of k, and this is where you write the formula for the term of the series, like 2x plus 7 or something like that. So let's go back to the question. I know that probably didn't make any sense. I will show you how to do it. Okay, so this has a bunch of information given to us, just not in the same way as the other questions. This is like numbers 41 and 43 and 45, but they didn't just say, hey, a sub 1 is this, so you have to kind of figure it out, okay? A sub 1, the first term, is when I plug this in, okay? So a sub 1 is equal to 2 times the k plus the 6. When I plug k in, the bottom one, to the equation, the function, whatever, I get what? 16. That's 10 plus 6, so 16. So my first term is 16. It's not 5. I plug 5 in to get my first term. Do you understand that? Okay. So to get my nth term, what do you think I'm going to plug in? If I plugged this in for my first term, I'm going to plug this in for my nth, or my last term. Okay? So a sub n is 2 times, we said k is 16 this time, plus 6. So what's 2 times 16? 32 plus the 6, 38. Is that okay? So the sigma gave me that information, but I still kind of had to figure it out on my own. Okay? I can also figure out n. There's a couple of different ways to do it. One way is you can count on your fingers, which there's no shame in that for these. Any other time there is, though, okay? So to find n, if I plug this in for my first term, and I plug this in for my last term, right, I'm counting from 5 to 16. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So how many terms is that? 12. So n is 12. Is everybody okay with that? That's not always going to be that easy, right? I could say 160. Nobody wants to count on their fingers from 5 to 160, right? So the shortcut to find n is you'll take the 16 minus 5, which is what, by the way? 11. What did we say we should get? 12. So you have to add one back in. Here's why. The top minus the bottom plus one more. When you do 16 minus 5, it doesn't include the 5, and we needed to, because 5 is one that we're putting in. Does that make sense? So 16 minus 5 plus 1 back, because the first one that we do is counted. Okay? So you're welcome to count on your fingers, but I don't know what kind of questions you're going to come up against. So if this was 160, I don't think you have time to count from 5 to 160 on your fingers. That's not going to go well. Okay? So that's all we have to have, because sigma means sum. So can't I use my first sum formula because I have a1, an, and n? Right? I'm going to pause for 2 seconds. I'm going to show you what you could also do if you'd like to. Okay? So you could find d. This is arithmetic again, right? You could find d if you wanted to by finding the second term. If plugging 5 in gives me my first term, what would I plug in for my second term? 6, right? I would plug in a 6. So to find my second term, I would say 2 times 6 plus 6 would be 18. So from 16 to 18, what was the common difference? 2. If I wanted to do that, I could. I don't have to, though. I just want you to know what your options are for when they get harder. If we started with 5, the next one I'd plug in is 6, and then 7, and then if I wanted to. Okay? Again, we could have stopped here for the question, but I wanted you to know that you could have done extra if you needed to. Okay? So this again means sum. So S sub n equals n, a sub 1 plus a sub n over 2. We had enough information to just go there. I'm sorry, where are you at? This one? The formula says 2k plus 6. I was saying if you wanted to find the second term, you could plug in, instead of a 5, that's the first term, you could plug in a 6. So 2 times 6 plus 6. You didn't have to do any of this. We could have stopped right here. I was just showing you extra information in case you ever need it. I don't remember what kind of questions we have, so I wanted to show you everything. Okay? So we could have stopped after n is 12, which you guys seem to be fine with up till there. Okay? So plug in what you know. So n is 12, a1 is 16, a sub n is 38, all over 2. What do you get? Take your time, punch it in, make sure you get it right. Huh? Yeah, 324. So technically S sub 12 is 324. So if I were to find all of those, if I were to plug in K is 5, K is 6, K is 7, K is 8, all the way up to, I think it was 16, I could add all those up, right? But again, if it was more than that or harder, you don't want to do that. This is probably the best method. Anybody confused? Okay, last question. Write an equation that represents the nth term in each arithmetic sequence. Again, that word arithmetic. So this is like numbers 21 and 22 from the front, okay? Except for they gave you the information in a different way. So I need a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. Unless they say something about sum, it's probably this one, okay? Where a1 and d need to be numbers by the time we're done with it. That's like the two from the front, okay? The 100th term of the sequence is 245. How do I write that? A sub 100 is 245. The 100th term is 245. Is that okay? And then the common difference is 13, so D is 13. What else do I technically know if I end up using that 245? N is 100 because it's the 100th term. Is that okay? Here's what I want you to understand. Just because n is 100 here, because we're going to use the 245, doesn't necessarily mean there's only 100 terms here. It just said the 100th term is 245. There could be 200 terms. I don't know. But because I'm going to end up using the 245 in this question, n for right now is 100. But it doesn't mean there's only 100 terms. It's okay if you don't understand what I just said. I just, again, like to tell you more than what you need sometimes. If you catch it, great. Okay? So a sub n might be confusing, so I'll wait for a second. We don't know a sub 1. What is n? 100 minus 1. What is d? 13, right? What's a sub n? If I use 100 for n, what's a sub n? What is the 100th term is what that means. The 245. This is also a sub n if n is 100. Do you guys get that? They're the same. Okay, so we need to solve for a sub 1 because that's what we need. We already have the d though. So 245 equals a sub 1 plus, wow, what am I doing? 99 times 13. And again, I don't think I showed much work. So 245 equals a sub 1 plus, what's 99 times 13? Why do I feel like I'm doing something wrong? I don't know. What did you get? 1287? Okay, yeah, that's right. I just didn't show like any work. I did it all on my calculator, sorry. So what's 245 minus 1287? Yeah, negative 1042. That's A1. Is that what they wanted? Are we done? We're not done, right? So we have to go back up here and replace this with a number and replace this with a number. We have to replace A1 and D and then simplify it just like we did on the front. So A sub n equals negative 1042 plus n minus 1 times 13. So you distribute that 13. So we have A sub n equals, oops, negative 1042 plus 13n minus 13. And typically you put the n first. So a sub n equals 13n minus what? Yeah, 1055, good. So what we just did was we found an equation for any term that we want in this question, in this sequence, okay? So if I want the 55th term, I can plug in n as 55, and that's it. I don't have to do anything fancier than that. Okay, questions anywhere today or yesterday? Are you sure?